What's up, guys? I'm Bennett here, and guess what? It freaking snowed. I'm so excited for this. I'm also feeling extremely inspired from the snow. So what I'm gonna do is break down some of your guys' videos today and give you a little bit of feedback so that we can help you become a better snowboarder, or I can help you become a better snowboarder. Kind of excited for this. It's gonna be sick. So make sure you stay tuned. At any point you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this style video. All right, so we're back in the studio, the lab. I don't know what to call this place, but we're here and we're gonna start to break down some of your guys' videos. Now, as a disclaimer, all the information that I'm giving you in the feedback that I'm providing is based on my opinion and based on my experience of working with instructors, coaches, athletes, and doing all this stuff online, and as well as my competitive snowboard background. So all this information is my opinion. You may like it, you may not like it, you may agree with it, you may disagree with it, but definitely let me know down in the description below what you think of this. So let's get right into it. Now, the first one we're gonna break down, I'm gonna switch screens for us. So this first submission is gonna be from James, also goes by Las Vegas Tango on Instagram. So thank you so much for sending this clip out, dude. I appreciate it so much. Also, let's figure out what trick he's gonna do, and we're gonna break it down. So I know what he's gonna do, but I want to play it forward for you guys, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So we're gonna give it a nice little play. The boy doing a backflip. All right, so after playing this video back, there's a couple little things that I want to point out that I think is gonna help. Obviously, James landed this backflip, which is so sick to see. But what I would like to see is give him a little bit more time in the air. Why you want more time in the air specifically for this shot is giving yourself more time to be aware of what's going on. It's not feeling hucked, it's not feeling rushed. You can have more time to grab. You can just feel more composed versus just hucking and hoping. I want him to have a lot more ownership of this trick. Obviously he landed it, but can we make it more awesome? So one thing that I wanted to point out that was kind of a big obvious thing to me was right here. Watch his back leg. So his back leg does extend, but his back leg extends more towards the jump versus exploding up. What I want James to do, I want him to get more vertical gain so he has more amplitude, more air, and it's going to stem from this back leg. So let's go ahead and point it through. So if you watch this back leg, he does extend it, right? But he's not extending his body upwards and trajecting his energy upwards. It's more just pushing his board kind of slipping out of the snow. So if James could think about being a little bit more patient and extending that back foot against the snow, getting him to go up versus trying to slip the foot almost down the hill, if that makes sense. So I want to see him get a lot more vertical gain, and then this trick would look and feel probably so sick. And then also in this position here, notice how his vision is quite blocked. His eyes are looking more towards his hand. He's in this kind of like turtled up position. What I'd like to see is his head just a little bit more, helping the flip go around. More importantly, if your head is looking behind you in the direction you're traveling, it's gonna allow him to spot the landing sooner. So he should be able to like be spotting the landing right about now, right about now, right about now, and then here. The last thing is, once he has more amplitude, once he's able to see exactly where he is in the rotation, he's going to be able to land in a stronger and more optimal body position with his chest more upright and his eyes looking down here, and then his weight a little bit more centered and stacked in a strong position. What that's going to allow him to do is, let's say there's a crazy mogul field underneath. Let's say that there's a small child, who knows what's going on, that you're landing in a very strong position. Now, why that's important, as James goes into bigger and bigger backflips, bigger jumps, you're going to start creating a lot more downforce as you land. There's going to be a lot more Now, as you do that movement, he's going to have to be able to control that. If you're in a stronger body position, controlling that impact and managing that impact, it's going to be a lot easier once you're able to know where you are, be able to spot the landing, and keep your chest up and absorb the terrain more with your knees. You're gonna be killing it. But overall, pretty hyped on the backflip. I just think there's a couple things to make it that much more awesome. So thank you so much for the video submission. Let's move on to the next one. All right, the next video we're gonna break down is a back three from our boy Will. Gosh, thank you so much for sending the video, dude. This is gonna be a fun one. Now, with this next breakdown, the backside three, this may be extremely relatable to you guys, so make sure you guys are paying attention. All right, so let's watch this clip, then we're gonna break it down. Sick dog. All right, super hyped on a backside 360 with a tail grab attempt. So like I said, there's a couple cool things that we can help you out with, which I'm stoked to be able to give you a little bit of feedback. So you're going to notice as he's going off of this jump that he is doing a nice toe side turn. That toe side turn really helps you set it at an edge, and as you set that edge, it gives you grip. Essentially, you're being able to get grip on the jump and then be able to throw the trick, so that's very important. Good job on that. You're going to notice that your lead shoulder, or Will's lead shoulder, is not wound up a lot. So what I like to do is, as I'm going into that jump, I like to take my lead shoulder and even open it up a little bit. Now, there is a misconception with opening up the lead shoulder just by doing this. My lead shoulder hasn't moved, but my arm, so perceivably I'm wound up. So you actually want to make sure you're rotating through your spine so that both of my shoulders rotate. Then that's going to give you a lot of power. With that said, that power, you can control that power. So I don't have to throw my shoulder that direction, throwing this direction. I don't have to throw it at 100%. I can throw this at 10%, 20%, depending on how big the jump is. So I would just say right from the beginning, open that shoulder up a little bit, get used to that position, because that's going to help you with 3s, 5s, 7s, 9s, 10s. So my goal would be to have you develop that shoulder position so that you can take this trick a little bit further and get used to it now, so you don't have to go relearn how to throw the 5 and the 7 and the 9. Okay, switching back over. With that said, so just wind up a little bit, and then he throws, and he does throw that shoulder, but I just think that could be very beneficial for the long-term skill development for ya, my dude. Okay, then next thing is, notice that as he's going off of the jump, that he's already at an angle. So he's leaning back, matching the transition or the angle of the jump. But what ends up happening is his whole body goes back, and not necessarily corked, but just like off axis, just a little bit kind of tilted. And then that makes his body position kind of more like this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it could make it feel like, if you're already in the back seat, it may be really hard to do a grab or continue the spin because you're like here. What I like to do is I like to try to pop and then get my shoulders to be flat. Now, how I get my shoulders to be flat, instead of looking underneath my armpit, I actually like to look over my shoulder. So here's a really good example. If I'm looking under my shoulder, this one right here, what happens? As my shoulder goes up, then it's easy for my body to go back. But what if I drop the shoulder and I look over here? Notice that my shoulder position is no longer going up. So that small thing could be very beneficial, especially when you're leaning back like this. You're trying to go for a grab, but your body is thinking, I'm out of balance. That's one thing that would help, is by looking over your shoulder instead of under it. Just try it. Give it an attempt. Let me know what you think. That has helped me a lot in my own riding by keeping this flat. If I want to go cork, then I will intentionally look under the shoulder and dip it even further. But just something to be aware of. Next, notice that your arm is here and then you have to go for the grab. In the most ideal situation when you're grabbing tail is being able to be in a position where that tail grab's easy and you're grabbing the tip of the board. That's the most proper / ideal way. So I'd love to see you just take that ownership of this trick and grab proper tail, because that's gonna be sick. In addition to that, what I like to do is I like to extend this back foot and then retract this front foot. So both of your feet are about equal, just about equal. And it makes that nose or tail grab for this instance, the tail grab a little bit further away. But if you think about this is your snowboard and you bring this knee up and then this knee back, notice how it moves that nose closer to your head essentially. Then that tail grab is going to be so much easier, and you can use this for nose or tail grab. So let's go ahead and watch this real quick. So he's going boom, he's grabbing the board. I feel like it's just a little far away to get here, to get to the tip of the board. So try that, extend this foot. It's going to bring this nose closer. It's going to be a lot easier. So after the grab, let's talk about the landing position. What I like to do is I like to take my lead shoulder and drive it all the way to complete the full 360-degree rotation so that I'm able to land in a more strong and stacked position. If I'm able to land with my shoulders, hips, and knees on top of each other, that allows me to absorb the impact as much as possible. So as you absorb that impact, you're able to ride away a lot more clean, or you give yourself a better chance of landing is the whole point, right? So then you'll notice that this shoulder right here is starting to open up, and it's opening up to slow the rotation down. 100%, totally agree with that. And then you just end up getting a lot super twisted, where this shoulder's pointed this way, this shoulder's going this way. There's just a lot going on. Now let's say that it's a crazy day at a competition, or it's super slushy out and there's a lot of bumps. If you land in this position in the bumps or speed ruts or anything, it just makes it that much more hard to land. So what I like to do is open that shoulder, and then right as I land, try to close that shoulder so I'm able to absorb the impact with all of my ankles, knees, and hips, so that it's all together and I land super strong. Obviously you land it, it's just a little twisted, a little off balance, and I just want to try to make that super clean. You guys will notice how quick he was able to get his shoulder there, but it also just took a little bit of time. If you could get that in the air and then land strong, well, you're gonna be killing it, dude. So hopefully that makes sense. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let's move on to the next one. So thank you so much for submitting the video, dude. Let's go. So far what we've done is a backflip, a backside 360. Now it's time to get into a frontside 360. So thank you so much to Kira for sending me this video. Pretty hyped on this. So just like always, we're going to jump in the video. We're going to be able to watch the first run through, and then we're going to break it down. So let's go watch this.
Yeah!
Sick. Let's go. Thank you so much for sending all these clips. Kira did send multiple clips in of her progressing, and I think she either had a coach, a friend, somebody helping her out, and they did a great job working together and progressing. She had fell or just didn't get a couple 360s, and they were able to progress to this 360, which is sick. So great job for you guys. You guys did an amazing job killing it. So love to see it. What I'd like to do is just talk about how to make this a little bit more consistent and a little bit more predictable, and that's where I think I can help you out. So let's go ahead and break this down. Now we're gonna scoot back to up here. I love how hyped they were. That's what this is all about, the stoke. So one thing that we talked about a little bit earlier, and this maybe is very similar situation, is that notice that the shoulders are not necessarily wound up, but the arm is. It's really easy for us to wind up our hands like this, but notice that I do not have any rotation through my spine. Ideally, if I'm winding up my shoulder, you will be able to see the back shoulder rotate as well, because they rotate together. If I just do this, you're never seeing my back shoulder wind up, essentially. So being able to get that back shoulder to rotate so that you can get a lot of power out of that would be the first thing I would start with. It's a very uncomfortable / counterintuitive position by being here, but I'm not saying be totally blocked out where you can't see the landing. You just want to make sure that you're getting a little wind up through your spine. So that's the first thing. And I don't know if you guys can, is this a reflection or is this like a piece of dirt? I don't know. Moving on. Let's see. Okay, so I thought it was reflection. It's a piece of dirt. So winding up, getting a nice little throw. So one thing that I like that she's doing is she's being able to look and spot the landing. That is really good because you want to be able to have that depth perception. You want to be able to see where you're going, and then you can know what to do. So super awesome. That lead hip and shoulder are wound up. Very patient, not super back seat where she's slipping out and falling. So the next thing that I want to talk about is that her eyes start to drift down and down and down. I'm going to clear this out real quick. So what ends up happening, it's really easy for us as snowboarders to get a little freaked out, where as we're spinning this rotation, we start to look down and my hands go here. Ideally, what I like to do is I like to throw my eyes over my shoulder. Notice that as I'm in this chair, if I simply keep my eyes up and I look over, the whole chair is going to move. But if I'm trying to move the chair and I'm like this, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit more challenging. So think about keeping your chest up, your eyes up, and looking over that shoulder. And what's nice about that, you're going to be able to spot the landing that much sooner. As you spot the landing that much sooner, you're able to know what to do. In addition to that, as my eyes go down, notice that how her body starts to get in this angle, so it gets a little toe heavy. If you are able to keep that spine upright and look over, you're gonna feel a lot more strong and stable in the air, and that just builds confidence to be able to do a grab down the road. Okay, also, once you throw your trick, one thing that a lot of people miss out on, and everybody, this applies for so many tricks. Right when you explode here, think about engage your core as hard as possible. Imagine somebody's trying to punch you in the stomach. Well, you're gonna embrace that core, and then my whole body will rotate as one, and it actually makes your arms a lot more quiet because you're strong in the core and everything's rotating together. So I would highly suggest just as soon as you throw the lip, engage your core and see how that's gonna change your snowboarding. I'd love for you to let me know how that goes. So right here, now notice that she's been coached, or she knows what she's doing, where she gets to this position and her instinct is spot the landing. A lot of people just keep their eyes looking down at the ground, but she has started to develop that skill of, I know I need to look where I'm going, so she's able to get her eyes to rotate across like that and then rotate out or right away out. And that's pretty exciting. I think overall, I'm super hyped that you got the frontside 360, that you rode away, that you built a jump, that you're snowboarding, and it looks like you're at Hood. So I'm super hyped that you were able to get this 360. That's so sick. And you're at Hood, which is super cool. So I'm actually going to be at Hood in a couple weeks. So what? It's going to be dope. With this said, I'm so stoked that you're able to get this 360. It's always very empowering to be able to do that. So those are just a couple pieces of feedback that I got for you. Alright, so the next video that we have here is gonna be from a huge supporter of the channel. So it's Kenny Shellnut. Kenny is helping me develop my app. He's been a big contributor to that. He is also a member on the channel, so thank you so much. And he's a Patreon supporter. This guy is a huge supporter, so I'm stoked to be able to break this down for you guys. So as always, let's go ahead and look at the clip and then let's break it down. Alright, so we just fixed that whole thing, make it look nice. So let's see what he's got for our boy Kenny. Nice little 50-50, a little board slide, and he's also got a 50-50 to frontside board slide. Dude, let's go. Alright, so he does a really good job about urbaning on, and this feature right here is quite advanced because you're not able just to ride on to the feature. You have to come from the side, and when you enter from the side, it makes this way more challenging than you expect because your momentum makes you want to go like 45 degrees over it versus going down and like on it and down it. So good job on that one. He's able to get his board locked in, and then he's using this little kink right here to unweight the board and start to get a rotation so he can get into that board slide. Now the biggest struggle that he's facing is getting that board slide at 90 degrees to make it fully across the rail. So let's go ahead and check that, take a look. Alright, so when it comes to being able to do a board slide where your board is, you know, more at this angle versus kind of offset, there's two big factors. One is if you're super tight and nervous or timid or scared, your body's going to be very tight, which means that your upper body is connected to the lower body through your stomach. Everything rotates as one. Now the reality in this specific situation, you want your stomach to be a little loose so that your shoulders can point down the fall line, but your lower body has the ability to rotate. Like I said, if you're super tight, your whole body rotates as one, which could be an advantage. But in this situation, it's actually a bit of a disadvantage, believe it or not. So what I would like to see him do is be able to keep that lead shoulder pointed down the hill, just like he's doing, but loosen up the stomach and be able to rotate more through the spine and the hips, getting that board to go more across the fall line. The other thing is you can take your back foot. So for this example, it's this foot right here, is get that foot and actually push that foot downhill a little bit more so that your board does go 90 degrees. It is also about commitment. The more you're able to commit to this body position, the better it's going to be. If you're timid, you're going to put yourself in a position that isn't as awesome. It's going to make this trick a lot harder. So I would definitely suggest loosening up the stomach and being able to take that back foot, push it down the hill a little bit, get that board to 90 degrees, and then you're going to be able to own it. And that's the whole goal for this, is to be able to own the board slide on no matter what feature. I personally struggle with board slides because they're scary. I would rather 50-50 or front board. A lot of times these are really challenging. So it's kind of funny in snowboarding how some things are really easy for certain people and really challenging for others. So just do your best to adapt and get in the right body positions to make it easier. That's one thing that helps me with board slides, is just think about what body position and then attack that body position, and it helps a lot. Now, real quick, I wanted to get into this front board just because it's the same feature. Very similar thing is he does a good job about doing this frontside 50-50, locking in, and then you want to use this kink as the ability to catch some air, minimize resistance, and get your board to 90 degrees. Let's see how it goes. He's almost there. What I'd like to see, instead of the rail being like right here, I actually want the rail to be to the inside of the binding, so more towards this, not necessarily dead center, but more to the inside. That's going to be able to get on the feature a little bit more. So notice where his center of mass is. So it starts right about here and then it goes to here. If you can see it well enough, this right here, this bar, means that all his center of mass is to the outside of the feature, so he's not fully on top of the feature. So what I'd like to see is, Kenny, shift your hips more over here, just by about 6 inches, so that your hips and your center of mass is directly over top of the rail. You can see how you're not directly lined up for the rail. Most of your body's off to the side, so being able to get on that feature, and as you're on that feature, you're going to As you're on that feature, you're going to feel a lot more committed. You're going to feel a lot more confidence on that feature, and it won't feel so scary. And then the same thing applies as the previous trick, is you can take this heel, this right here, this back foot, and drive it down the hill just a little bit more. So instead of being here, you're actually taking your foot and kind of swooping it around. So instead of like this, you're kind of pulling it a little bit more so that the board is able to get more across the rail and make it committed. So hopefully that makes sense. So those are some really important things that are going to help you, Kenny, and anybody else who's struggling with a board slide, or like a backside board slide or frontside board slide. So if you want your video broken down and a shout out on this video, what you're going to need to do is go to Tommy. You're going to need to go to my Instagram and shoot me a DM. Say you watch this video, and I'm going to make more of these videos. I think I want to do a series so I can help out as many people as possible. Let me know if you guys are digging the content. And I'm going to be in Mount Hood in July running a snowboard camp. So if you guys are interested in going to Mount Hood, I want you guys to go to the description down below, check out all the prices, check out all the information. If you live in Oregon and you just want to get coached by us, we do offer that. If you want the whole kit and caboodle, which includes food, accommodation, hanging out with us, snowboarding, all of that, go ahead and we have that option as well. So go ahead and check that out. Also, I have really cool stickers. I have stickers and hoodies, which are all going to be in the description down below. On that note, guys, we're going to call it there. Thank you so much to all the supporters, all of you guys for submitting the videos. All of this has been so fun, and we are going to see you next time. All right, guys, keep killing it.